Hi, I'm Dawn H. Jones, your HR Wise Guide. Now, the relationship between line managers and HR can be bumpy and challenging. Ask me how I know. On the other hand, a working relationship between line managers and HR colleagues that's characterised by mutual respect and recognition of operational and HR expertise improves service delivery and effectiveness. I call it the power of partnership. Let me explain. So I worked with a manager, I'll call him Jack, for a few years. I was Jack's HR advisor, and Jack was a senior manager responsible for leading a significant portion of a complex critical clinical service. Now, Jack and his team, on top of all of that, had many time sensitive targets to meet, as well as day-to-day service delivery. In fact, I often wondered, along with many of his colleagues, how Jack found the time to administer his service, attend the meetings, deal with crisis, stay current in his area of knowledge and manage his team. But he did. Jack's management style was fair, transparent and pragmatic, and he brought that to the partnership that he had with me. His practice was to deal with HR issues in line with policy and HR processes as soon as possible, all of which I was totally down with. So how did our partnership work? Well, we started off with a foundation of mutual personal and professional respect. Okay, so that was the foundation. And then we also developed a proactive and reactive partnership strategy. So let's look at the proactive strategy, which had three components. First, my direct report and I attended Jack's regular service meetings with his direct reports. And these meetings helped us to get to know each other and understand the operational agenda and vice versa. Number two, Jack and I, myself as his HR advisors, were both early starters, right? So we'd have regular early morning catch-ups once or twice a week before the working day kicked in. And that was especially useful if we both had packed diaries. Jack updated me on his service and any potential HR issues, and I discussed matters with him that he needed to know about. Okay, the third point. Jack also supported his managers in attending HR training, so he was able to drive up their people management capacity. Now, on that note, if your team requires training, HR training or policy and process training, I can help you with that, and I'll pop the link in the description below. Okay, let's look at the reactive strategy. Number one, if an HR issue warranted an investigation, Jack and I would discuss the issues, and typically within 12 to 48 hours of the problem arising, Jack would have a detailed investigation plan, which he would share with me for any comments. Or if he had a policy question, we'd discuss that too, okay? The other thing we did, number two, was Jack started investigations promptly and commonly concluding them within weeks instead of months. And the same principles applied if he was chairing a disciplinary hearing. Third point of the reactive strategy, if a manager in his area also had to undertake an investigation, he expected his managers to follow these same principles of timeliness. Now, you may think Jack or I could have been busy, or we had unrealistic expectations of what we could get done and by when, but nothing could be further from the truth. We understood that managing HR issues may be time intensive and a little bit annoying in the short term, but it saves us both time and effort in the long run. So let's look at some of the positive outcomes for the service from our powerful partnership. Okay, so we minimise the risk of employment tribunal claims by following policies. And it's important to know that claims can cost an employer thousands to respond to and sometimes tens of thousands to defend, depending on the nature of the claim. Also, employees understood the process because Jack demonstrated transparency through detailed investigation plans, letters and update. The other thing we did was the prompt investigation and resolution of cases meant that many HR processes lasted several weeks rather than months. On this point, although most employers don't cost internal investigations, they can easily cost thousands of pounds. Plus, most managers investigate cases on top of their daily roles, which can be very stressful. And Jack created a management standard for his managers to follow, which created a fairer and consistent working environment for the team as a whole. Now, as you can see, the return on investment had a multiplier effect. When line managers and HR combine our collective operational and HR experience and embed it into our service and the ways of working, we become less reactive and more proactive. We strengthen working relations and deliver effective services for our stakeholders. Here are some tips to build a powerful partnership. Have a mutual respect for each other. Agree on how you will work together. Communicate clearly and regularly, and learn about your respective functions, and always be prepared to do your part. Now, this may seem simple or easy, but as a wise person said, what is easy to do sometimes does not get done. Sometimes it's easy not to do, in other words. So remember, click on the link if you'd like to discuss policy and process awareness training with me. Remember the power of partnership between HR and line management colleagues. Thank you for listening, and do remember, be HR wise. Bye-bye.